Good morning, Jesse. How are you today?
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
Yeah.
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there.
Well, it's my pleasure to speak to you. I'm really excited about what we're going to be talking about today because I discovered you guys recently. I'd never heard of, you guys before a couple of weeks ago, in fact. And what you guys seem to be doing, it seems to be working. I mean, tell us about it. Tell us about what you've been doing.
Well, from a marketing standpoint, I'm more interested on exactly how you found me. Then I'll tell you how what I'm doing.
Well, it was my friend Leah, and she lives, I think she's one of your clients, one of your members, and she lives in New Jersey.
Oh, fantastic! So it was word of mouth, and that's exactly what we want.
Hmm.
We want it to. It hasn't hit the viral point yet, but it's getting close. And I think interviews like this. Thanks for having me again, Ben. I think interviews like this is just what's going to catapult it, give it that fuel to make it go the distance that it needs. This whole system is based on uh, their existing laws that are consumer laws that are very easy for the average person to understand. And as one of your old guests or your interviewees, Frederick Graves, uh, specifically said, it's easy to learn this stuff. Even an eighth grader can learn it if done correctly. And we've kind of modeled our system to where it's not anything that's complicated. There's nothing to argue. Basically, once you have your facts down and you have your evidence down, there's not much anybody can do. At the end of the day, all you're doing is saying, hey guys, my favorite saying is, how do you want to handle this? Meaning, how are we going to get paid? Uh, with violations of the federal laws and the state laws. So it's not that hard uh, to understand once you get it. These few little things. Once you understand those clearly, from then on it's gravy. And there's a lot of members making a lot of money off these debt collectors and off these servicing companies for their foreclosure, credit card debts being eliminated, automobile debts being eliminated. It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic to see the progress in the members.
So let me ask you a question. I know this is a stupid question from your point of view, but for
Yeah,
our listeners, is it possible to stop a debt collector? Is it possible to stop a foreclosure?
yeah, it's possible to do all the above. And when you have congresswomen saying, "Hey, don't pay your mortgages," okay, it's not Jesse saying that. That's Congress. That's a member of Congress,
Right.
which is a fantastic thing. They see that the banks are falling apart around us. They see all the situations that are going on in this country and overseas that's affecting us. And they're saying, hey, wait a minute. You know, the banks have conned us. The debt collectors have conned us. The dollar's crashing. The euro's crashed. The whole system's crashing. Your properties are upside down. So when that alert's coming from a high end person like that, it really substantiates what I'm about to tell you and answer your question. But when a bank, and I say bank, and mind you, it is absolutely 110% the wrong terminology, meaning 99.9% of all foreclosures come from servicing companies. And it is absolutely against the law for a servicer to foreclose. Okay?
Right.
It might say Wells Fargo Bank, but at the end of the day, it's really not the bank; it's the servicing companies. And we're in some of the uh, settlement, at least in me, out of 6 homes I have in foreclosure. I just settled two last week for $10,000. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, because of these violations.
Cool.
Debt collectors, on the other hand, and I'll ask you a simple question. That's a trick question. Does anybody on this planet owe a single penny to a debt collector?
Well, I'm not exactly sure, to be honest.
Well, logic. What would logic tell you, Ben? You're a pretty sharp guy. You're no dummy.
Well, I'm not quite sure. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure what to say.
My contract was with Ben Lowry,
Oh, okay.
not a debt collector. I don't owe a debt collector nothing.
Oh, I see. Right.
America owns nothing to a debt collector. England owes nothing to a debt collector. There isn't a single person that owes anything to a debt collector. And
Right.
there's several reasons why, but at the end of the day, you've never contracted with them. And that's the simplest, easiest to understand of all that people say, wow, you're right. So when a debt collector harasses you, calls you, sends you threatening letters, calls your place of employment, all that, he's violating many federal and state laws that it's easy to prosecute him for.
Oh, right.
Okay, and they don't want to go to court because if they go to court, it's going to cost them thousands upon thousands of dollars when they're trying to collect, a couple of $1,000 or three, four, $5,000 at the most in most cases, and they've only paid three, four, 500 for that debt.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they usually pay anywhere from 2 to 10, 15 cents on the dollar, somewhere in that neighborhood is the general
Wow.
purchasing price of these huge portfolios.
Cool.
So is it worth their time to chase Ben Lowry down for 2,000 when Ben turned around and sends him a letter and says, "Hey, you've called me 3 times. I don't owe you anything. You didn't validate the debt, or you've broke this law. You threatened me. You called my employer, or you called my friends, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And now you owe me 3,000 or $4,000.
Right. Yeah.
You see, it's not worth it for them. So at the end of the day, what they say is, listen, just get rid of this Ben guy. He's driving me absolutely nuts. Pay him, give him a check, and let him go. We'll take it as a loss. We'll make it on the next sucker who's not a member of What Lies in Your Debt. Yeah,
Right. And I can imagine that working with like a loan, like an unsecured debt, but does it work with a mortgage?
of course. What people don't realize is that most mortgages in this country at this point in time are unsecured debts.
Oh, right. Okay.
They've been securitized. They've been misplaced. They've been sold. People don't even know. For instance, let me grab this real quick. I just did a security loan audit, right, for securitization. I'm going to tell you the trustee, who this plaintiff is, Ben, so you understand a little better.
Yeah.
They're trying to foreclose on this gentleman, okay? And let me tell you who the plaintiff is. So it means, and you understand the word plaintiff, right? In a case,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you
Sure.
would be the defendant, the bank or the servicer would be the plaintiff, right?
Yeah.
Let me read you this and tell me if this makes any sense to you. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., which means National Association, as a trustee for Option 1 Mortgage Loan Trust 2007 FXD2 Asset-Backed Certificate Series 2007 FXD2. I can't hardly ever say that without chuckling a little bit.
Right.
That is the plaintiff. Now, for the average person who has no clue what they're looking at, they think Wells Fargo Bank.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's not what it is. What this is an actual securities instrument. It's a certificate, a CMO, a collateralized mortgage obligation. So you have this fantasy security trying to foreclose on a real person. Okay?
Right.
And so the secret to these little things is to understand and being able to pick these apart. And this particular securitization audit, not a mortgage audit. I don't want you to get confused with what you hear out there on the internet. Mortgage audits are pretty much useless. But a securities audit is a little different, and I'll tell you why. If you go through these little things, once they're done and you realize, I call those alphabet soup mortgages, as you can tell why.
Right.
Okay? It's really an unsecuritized, or it's a securitized obligation, but the reality is this home is worth, let me give you the exact number, pal. It's going to blow your mind away. And then I'm going to prove to you it's unsecured debt. $1.17 million.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
$1.17 million. And I'm going to read through the auditor's conclusion. Just a few seconds here. On November 20th of 06, follow along, Ben, the mortgagers, which were the client, mortgaged their home to Option 1. March 22nd of 07, so that would be, what, 6 months later, 5 months later, Option 1 sold and transferred the note to the mortgage trust, reserving itself only the servicing rights. Meaning, Ben, listen, I'm going to sell your loan to so-and-so, but I'm going to go ahead and retain the rights to service it, meaning collect all the payments,
Got
because
it.
I make some money doing that, right? So I don't want to own it, but I want to go ahead and service it,
Got
okay?
it. Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
I want everybody to understand, your listeners, everybody. So remember, here we go. The opening date when they got the loan was November 20th of 2006. On March 22nd, which would have been, what, 5 months, like I said, 07, Option 1 sold it.
Yeah.
On March 31st of 08, almost a year later to the date, almost within a few weeks, the trust was dissolved and all of the assets at the time were distributed to its certificate holders.
Oh.
So this Wells Fargo Bank as an A as trustee is bogus. It can't be there. It doesn't exist. It was dissolved back in 2008.
Oh, wow.
On April 30th, 2008, which means 30 days almost to the day after the trust was dissolved, Option 1 sold its residual servicing rights and mortgages, meaning any remaining mortgages, if any, to American Home Servicing.
Right.
It says, therefore, on January 4th, 2010, when Shapiro and Fishman filed their complaint to foreclose the mortgage against the mortgagors in the name of the trustee of the defunct trust, 21 months after the trust had been dissolved, that action was wholly without color of right and was wrongful. In other words, it was 21 months too late, Ben.
Right.
Okay? So when you look at these things, the actual plaintiff doesn't even exist.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah, yeah. So what you just read, was that a judgment?
No, this is an actual affidavit by an attorney who's a friend of mine that does securitization audits.
Oh, I see. This is an audit. I'm with you. Yeah, yeah, got it.
So this is up and beyond the site. But what I show people is, listen, this is exactly what I'm saying when you asked me earlier, does it stop foreclosure? And you said unsecured debts. Your home is an unsecured debt. You just got to know how to detach it from this fantasy mortgage. Okay. So
Incredible.
I just proved to you, and this audit was just done September 19th. As a matter of fact, I'm meeting with an attorney here in Florida, for a very good friend of ours, and the client. He's like a brother to me because I usually don't work with anybody one on one, but I've been working with him. Well, he's a family friend. I have to help him,
Hmm.
and he's also a guinea pig. So he allows me to use him as a guinea pig and myself. You know, I got 6, he's got a couple. But what this will do is show without a shadow of a doubt to any judge, using their own language, using their own rules, regulations, laws, etc., that they don't have a prayer in hell on foreclosing this. And if I'm not mistaken, let me look at the back here, and I'll read you their words. Uh, okay. Uh, Not only does this party not exist, okay, because it was obviously dissolved. I just read it to you, and I gave you the exact dates, right?
Yeah.
And all this information can be found on your own. And in our membership side, I teach people how to go find 99% of this stuff,
Right.
okay, if it's an alphabet soup. So you can go find it yourself, okay?
Yeah.
It says, Option 1 lost all of its servicing rights when the trust was dissolved back in 2008. So that means, why was he paying them between 2008 and 2010 when he stopped paying, right?
Yeah.
Think about that for a second. It says, also, in my professional opinion, there was no reason to believe that the party sending the monthly bills to the mortgager is making payments to the owners and holders of the note. So there's no proof and no evidence that I sent Ben payments and Ben was paying the correct person.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, what they're saying is that there should be legal proceedings to recover all sums paid since March 31st of 2008.
Which is when the bank sold the note in the first
You
place?
got it.
Right.
So
Wow.
even the attorney is saying, start collecting this money
Wow.
back.
Wow. So hold on a second, Jesse. Let me just clarify in my own words. So you're saying that everyone that's got a mortgage on their home, if they were to go and find out when the bank sold their note, they potentially could sue their bank and recover all the payments? Is that what you mean?
That is not everyone, but that is about 90% of all the mortgages in this country.
Wow.
See, everybody's blaming in this country the citizens of the country.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you didn't pay your mortgage. Oh, you're a bad person. Oh, you're a bad American. You're a bad British. You're a bad Chinese. You're a bad whatever it is. If you have a mortgage here and you didn't pay it, you're bad.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't us who securitized, bundled them, and started trading them like, beers. So When these things go bad, is it our fault that these appraisals were overinflated? Ben would get a call from the bank and say, "Hey, you're going to go to Jesse's house today and appraise it. We think it's worth about 800 grand, but I need you to put in a million on it so we can get the extra 200 grand." Because once again, if you understand how the banking system works and the um, fractionalized numbers and systems that they use to be able to inflate these things, because remember, money doesn't exist; it's all fantasy land.
Hmm.
So once you understand that, then you'd understand why the appraisals were the way they were, overinflated, why you could walk into a bank, sign it, and leave without a single penny, without even telling them basically who you are,
Hmm.
and get a dang $1 million loan. So you'll understand all these things. So yeah, once these were securitized, of course, by Wall Street, as we know, we have the protests going on, and traded around, and they blew up in their face. They're bringing down Greece, Italy, Europe, Germany. They're bringing down a lot of people. These securitized mortgage obligations are these collateralized mortgage obligations, or CMOs.
Hmm.
And they created CDOs, collateralized debt obligations with the credit cards, consumer debt of any kind, cars, boats, jet skis, any of that stuff. So, there's a lot behind the scenes that the average American has no clue. So
Right.
I try to wake people up. I got Larry and John that are with me on the site, and we all do our little specialty. And together, it's a force to be reckoned with because it's a rude awakening to people. And I have members, funny enough, I have members all over the world because they have properties here,
Hmm.
or they have a bank account here that have a credit card here. And I tell them, listen, I don't care if you live in China. If you have a bank of credit card with Bank of America, sue them. Make their life as miserable as possible, Ben. And that's the only way that anything's going to change. Because if you allow these debt collectors to keep harassing you, and you allow these banks to keep getting bailouts, the number I got the other day from the first, the Fed has been avoiding audits since 1933,
Yeah.
and the first part of this audit that came out, I just got the report. I put it up on our site on the member side, was that the banks have received $16 trillion in banking bailouts. That's the real numbers.
God.
That's the real numbers. And I encourage everybody to go to shadowstats.com. Shadow, like you have a shadow, stats, STATS.com. It's free. It does have a newspaper you can sign up to, kind of a newsletter. I don't. I don't pay for it. He gives enough free news that is enough to blow your mind away. But the reality is 50 or $16 trillion equates to $50,000 per man, woman, and child that reside in the United States.
God.
The only way to get back at these boogers is to sue them and get some of your money back, because that's our tax dollars. See, so I say to everybody, if we have 308 million people here in the United States, and we get 25, 30 million people suing them all for $1,000 a piece,
Hmm.
because I have yet to see a phone call made, I've yet to see a letter sent that has not caught a violation of the Federal Debt Collection Practices Act. And in 90% of all the states, Georgia being the exception, for instance, every state has a mirror action. So it has a mirror law.
Right.
If you violated one, by default, you violate the other. It's impossible not to,
Right.
right? So that'd be $2,000 times 20, 30 million people. Soon. We'll get our tax dollars back one way or another.
So I've heard you say that your clients and your members actually can make money by doing this. So tell us about that.
Well, I'm going to give you an instance. The Federal Debt Collection Practices Act, which is what rules the debt collectors have to follow, okay, when collecting a debt,
Hmm.
carries penalties of $1,000 per violation. And I mean this, when I mean per violation, if you call me 44 times trying to collect the same debt, I'm only going to get $1,000 from you,
Hmm.
okay? But I'm going to hammer you under the Telephone Communication Practices Act for $500 to $1,500 per call times 40.
Right.
Okay? And then I'm going to hit you under the Florida, because I live in Florida, the Florida Consumer Credit Protection Act, the FCCPA, for another $1,000. So if you called me 40 times and you've called my cell phone, or you've called my employer, or you've called me harassing me, whatever, I'm going to get that. But the FDCPA, the Supreme Court of the United States, also decided carries punitive damages, meaning, you know what, you caused me grief, stress. I couldn't have sex with my wife because of all the stress. I couldn't eat. I lost 10 pounds. The lawyer, my blood pressure went up. You've caused damages you're going to pay me for actual damages
Mm.
beyond, up and above that $1,000. So we give a free tutorial, which you've seen, I'm sure, uh, for the members or the non-members to go make themselves a quick $1,000 just using the Fair Credit Reporting Act,
Wow.
just by pulling up their credit. Because what a lot of people don't know is just because my credit report's there through the big three here in the United States, which is Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, are the three credit reporting agency, what I call the slave masters, right? They keep you there.
Mm.
Those three allow people to come in and take a look or a peek inside your credit. And there's two forms, what they call a hard pull and a soft pull. And allegedly, and I say this allegedly, the soft pull, which means I'm just peeking, I'm just looking, I'm not really taking anything, meaning I'm not going to pull your credit. I'm not going to call them and say, hey, listen, send me a copy of this, right?
Mm.
Is not supposed to affect your credit score.
Right.
Well, I have a philosophy. If you were in there at all, I'm going to sue you for $1,000 for every time you peeked and for every report you peeked. Now, why? You can come back and argue, you know what? I have the right to be there. I was just looking. It didn't affect you. Da 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 da. And spend $5,000 doing it.
Mm.
Or you can say, you know, Ben, I know I had the right to be in there, even though they don't. I had the right to be in there, and here's $1,000. Go away.
Mm.
And that's what a lot of our members are doing. A lot.
Wow.
Yeah. Our biggest success to date is a $538,000 judgment against Bank of America out of Texas about 3 weeks ago
Wow.
for a mortgage and a free and clear home to boot.
Ka.
So there's a lot of damage that can be done. And the goal with the site was, I seen the reverse, meaning, and you'll agree with me, you've studied up on a lot of this stuff and a lot of different people. We're the only site on the entire web that pays our members back. We actually give you, it's an investment. You have to look at the $99, all of $99 to join as an investment.
Mm.
Because I'm going to show you how to turn that $99 into thousands upon thousands of dollars.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, complete sense. Perfect sense.
So those people that are out there going, oh, I'm not going to spend $99 for that. Well, fine. Go ahead and starve like the rest of America. They just hit the 50 million mark 2 weeks ago in America for the poverty or below line. Go join them. Make it 50 million and one. The way I look at it is, personally, Ben, in the last 2 weeks, I've just made $10,000. 2 weeks, $10,000.
Wow.
I average, yeah.
By claiming from by putting in a claim to banks or
You got it.
right.
Without a doubt, by the end of this year, I will have made close to $200,000 this year by holding them accountable for their actions.
Mm.
Because it's got nothing to do with the debt. That's the moral fiber. Well, you know, I got a loan. Well, you know, I used the credit card. Well, you know, that has nothing to do with it. If I owe Ben Lowry $1,000 and Ben calls me nicely, hey, Jesse, when do you think you can start paying me that back? You know, I'm starting to hurt over here myself. I need a little money. Can you help me out, man? And I tell you, you know, Ben, I'm trying my hardest. I can send you $10 or $20 or whatever till I get back on my feet. And Ben says, you know, Jess, that sounds good to me. Just send something. Kind of show some goodwill, right? That's a different story.
Yeah.
But if Ben calls me and says, Jesse, I'm going to break your dang legs. I'm going to show up at your house Saturday if you don't have that $1,000. And if you don't have that $1,000, I'm going to put a bullet in your kneecap.
Hmm.
Do you have the right to do that?
No.
See, it has nothing to do with the $1,000 now. It has to do with your behavior.
Yeah.
I need to put a dunce cap on you and send you to the corner.
Yeah.
You see, except my corner costs you $1,000 a whack.
Yeah.
Okay, Ben. So now you owe me 1,000. I owe you 1,000. Remember what I said earlier? How do you want to handle it?
We owe each other 1,000. Did you say?
Yeah. See, you broke the law by threatening to shoot me in the kneecap.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
over the $1,000. Well, that was $1,000 violation. How do you want to handle it now, Ben?
Right, we'll call it quits.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Lick your wounds and have a good day, Ben.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Jesse. Usually, when the bank or the lawyer or the debt collector, whatever the case is, when they realize that you might sue them, do they usually settle without you needing to start a lawsuit?
Here is the percentages. 33, 33, 33.
Ah.
33% settle without ever actual filing the lawsuit, meaning we have a system that we draft our complaints, we got an intent to sue letter, we put it all together, we give them a time frame and say, okay, listen, save yourself time and effort. Here's your opportunity. You got 10 days, 15 days. That's all discretionary up and into the member. The member can say 5 days, 30 days, but you got to be reasonable. You know, if they don't respond, then we actually file a lawsuit and serve it to them.
Right.
So we have 33% at the first, 33% at that second,
Yep.
and then 33% that settle after you go to your first meeting, which is the standard meeting. Hey, when for deadlines and da 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 da. And they
Ah.
say, okay, how do you want to handle it? See, and that might take you 4 or 5 months, 6 months on the larger ones,
Right.
right? I've had ones that I've settled without ever filing, without even sending them a complaint, without an agreement. I got a check overnighted from Nation Star Mortgage for $3,500. The guy's name's AJ. He's a super nice guy. I called him up. I sent him a letter with my email. He emailed me, said, call me. Of course, he didn't want to call me again because the entire complaint was for what? Violations of the Telephone Communication Practices Act. He did not want to call me anymore. And he knew that the only phones I have are cell phones. Do not call me. So the guy emailed me and said, you call me and we'll get this squared away. And I swear to you, I called that guy at 9 in the morning. And by 3 in the afternoon, we were done. The next day, I had a check. And that
Wow.
was just not too long ago. We joked because I did a little fishing trip with my wife for about 7 days up to the Ozarks, and he paid for it. And then now I just got back from out of the country, and U.S. Bank paid for it. So I have these nice vacations all on the debt collector's back.
It,
So
it, it seems to me, Jesse, that, a lot of people, because people don't know how to do this, everyone's upset and angry at the banks, and we know that they're bullying us and all that. But if only people knew how to do what you're teaching, then we could actually penalize them for what they're doing wrong, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's all a matter of slapping them in the wrist and saying, hey, give me a check. You're acting like a little baby.
Mm.
That's
And
all it is. And
yeah.
I'm going to read you something. I have a little guide that we give for free. It's called Frequently Violated FDCPA Guidelines.
Mm.
And we give this to anybody, member, non-member. But see, I even have it on my desk here.
Mm.
I tell everybody, once you become a member, go ahead and print it out and keep it at your desk or at your kitchen table, wherever you do your business, right?
Mm.
And the basic definitions. And my favorite definition is 1692A6, which is definition of a debt collector as collectors, collection agencies, lawyers, and form writers.
Mm.
So I like the collection agencies and lawyers because the two fall hand in hand. I'm not very fond of attorneys at all, and I'll give you a good reason. If and when Ben decides to go hire an attorney for FDCPA violation, the first thing the attorney is doing, which he's not telling you, is costing you $1,000 or $2,000, depending on what state you live. Why is that? Because he's not going to sue the other attorney. He's only going to sue the collection firm. So if the attorney owns the collection firm, I'm going to sue both of you.
Mm.
The attorney as an individual and your firm as the debt collection agency.
I see.
You follow? So you're both two separate entities. Well,
Yeah.
see, he's prejudicing you because he's not telling you, oh, sue the attorney. Because, they're chums. They all belong to the same national organization. I personally do not believe in using attorneys unless you're an absolute brick and you can't understand a thing.
Yeah.
Okay? There is a part and point, like after this audit, that it's going to get into some complex litigation, very complex. I'm telling my friend, because I love my friend and I don't want to see any harm on anybody, hey, let's go meet with this other attorney who's a good friend of mine who I know for a fact will sue other attorneys because I've made 28, 30 grand this year from attorneys. Okay? He has no issue suing attorneys. He is on our side, in other words. If I did not know that gentleman, we would go at this without an attorney, and I would just have to bite the bullet and help my friend. I don't really want to put in the time and effort because of the complex litigation. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's a point in time where you have to say, okay, I got them dead to rights. I don't want to screw this up. I know justice system's great, but I don't have the confidence to do it. Let me jump on it and go do it somewhere else. See, I'm about 6 months, 5 months from free and clear homes on 3 homes.
Mm.
Yeah. So because I know what I'm doing. Larry knows what he's doing. John knows what he's doing. We all work together. I can go through the complex litigation and eat you alive as an attorney. It doesn't bother me. Okay? For several reasons, but I'll leave it at that. So when you have these frequently violated FDCPA, you can sue attorneys, and always keep that in mind. But 1692D, which is harassment or abuse, specifically reads, any conduct, the natural consequence of which is to harass, oppress, or abuse any person. D2 says profane language or other abusive language. Right?
Yeah.
1692 DF causes the phone to ring or engage any person in telephone conversations repeatedly. And the one most frequently violated is place telephone calls without disclosing his or her identity.
Right.
Okay? Then you jump to E, which is false or misleading representation during the communication. Means any false, deceptive, or misleading representation or means in connection with the debt collection, the character, amount, or legal status of the alleged debt, any false representation or deceptive means to collect a debt or obtain any information about the consumer, and E14, any name other than the true name of the debt collector's business. And then it jumps into F, which is the unfair practices. Unfair or unconscionable means to collect or attempt to collect the alleged debt. Hey, Ben, I'm going to lien your house and I'm going to sell it and I'm going to take your home. Ben, I'm going to lien your Social Security account. Ben, I'm going to, you can't do that. But they do it daily. Matter of fact, if you go to YouTube, which I know is one of your favorite hunts, go to YouTube and type in debt collection calls and you'll listen where people say, hey, Ben, are you going to give me a credit card over the phone right now? No? Well, the sheriff's going to be at your house in 30 minutes to arrest you if you do not pay me. You better tell me now because I can go ahead and call him off. But if you don't, he's going to be there and arrest you. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what these debt collectors will do. Okay?
So that right there is a violation of the Fair Debt Collection
Practices Act and state law, depending on what state you live. Now, you might live in a sorry state like Georgia, who has no debt collection protection at all for consumers. It relies strictly on the federal. Or you might live in a state like Florida, which has a mirror image. $1,000. California, $1,000. As a matter of fact, California's act is even stronger than the federal. So depending on the state, Pennsylvania, you got a $50 fine instead of a $1,000 fine. It doesn't matter. It's still $50. Buys you a good dinner,
So with a typical debt collector, how many of these different counts are they violating? It could be multiple things, right?
Well, on our member side, on one phone call, I have 2 phone calls. I have a regular live phone call, and then I have a regular, what I call robocall. And each one of those calls is worth $4,000 per call. Okay? Because it's not just a violation of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, it's a violation of the Telephone Communication Practices Act. Remember, it's illegal for anybody to call or text you, and we have all the case history on there, that you don't have an established business relationship with on your cell phone, unless it's for emergency purposes.
Oh, right.
Hey, Ben, you want to go have a beer later today? Well, who are you? Well, you owe me $1,000. Don't call me again, or I'm gonna sue you. Well, the second time you call me, that's it. Now you owe me $2,000. Unlike the FDCPA, you're still trying to collect the same debt, but you've called me or written me 4 or 5 times,
Yeah.
right? So it's still $1,000. The TCPA is per incident. You've called me once, that's one cause of action. You call me again, it's a separate cause of action. 3, 4, 5. I had 128 causes of action against Citibank for calling my cell phone using robocallers.
Mm.
Auto dialers, robocallers, predicted dialers, any of that stuff. Yeah, it's
Wow.
great stuff, man.
So do your clients like routinely, get
I don't have
successes?
clients. I don't have clients. We
Uh,
have members.
members, yeah, yeah, of course.
Only attorneys have clients. Doctors have clients.
Oh, 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 boy.
Garages have clients.
Yeah, sure. By the way, I heard I was listening to your talk show conference call, and I heard you guys tell a story where you'd sued an attorney firm or something
Yeah.
and won.
Oh, we've sued a lot of them in one. Like I said, I've gotten about 28 grand. Listen, this case here, I have one case that I just relinquished. And the reason I say that is the house itself is sitting in downtown Orlando, off in an area that's not so good. You know what I mean?
Mm,
It's probably worth $30,000. At the top of the market, it was worth about 130. I only financed about $70,000, so about 50% of the value. I was good when I bought it as a rental, right?
mm,
And if I went over there and gave it a good swift kick on the side, it'd fall over.
right.
So I didn't want the liability. U.S. Bank called me and said, "Listen, would you take $5,000 and just go away?" Because they've lost to me 2 times in court over the last 4.5 years. Their foreclosure case has been dismissed and relatively easy. Okay.
Yeah.
So every time that their case has been dismissed, I've sued them under the FDCPA and FCCPA. So they've paid me a couple of grand a whack, right?
Yeah.
Because that would fall under the legal status of the debt. So they're misrepresenting the legal status of the debt. Otherwise, I wouldn't have won, correct?
Mm,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay. So now that you understand the basis of it, and they know that.
Mm,
Well, this last attorney, which I don't know if you're familiar with, their last attorney firm that helped them was David Stern. Well, he fell apart and completely dissolved. So these new attorneys, and let me grab their name. Hold on a minute. I got to get the envelope because you're going to laugh. You're going to laugh at me. This is the stuff that people don't understand. And make sure you can hear me clearly, Ben. If not, let me know.
yeah.
Okay. Hold on. There it is. Debt collector envelope. Okay. They sent me 2 envelopes. September 10th, and why do I remember that date? That was my 23rd wedding anniversary.
Mm,
I go to the mailbox with my wife in the morning, about 11:30 in the morning. It was a Saturday, getting ready to go off on our little mini honeymoon. And I start jumping for joy, and she's laughing. I said, "Here's another weekend paid by these idiots for us."
right.
And it reads as follows: Florida Foreclosure Attorneys PLLC, a default service law firm. So guess what? They showed up in this case that David Stern fell apart. This was their letter saying, "Hey guys, we're joining the party." And I wrote them back and I says, "That's okay. You can join the party, but it's going to cost you $4,000. Huh?
Yeah.
Well, let me read you something that's going to give you a good chuckle. I'm trying to find it here. Any language or symbol on an envelope that indicates the communication concerns debt collection, $1,000. The Florida Act reads identical. So that's 2 grand for me, 2 grand for my wife to join the party.
Yeah.
Okay? So they join the party on behalf of U.S. Bank. U.S. Bank says, "That's enough. This guy will not let one thing go by because I keep you on your toes. I'm worse than a jealous wife.
Yeah.
I keep you on your toes." So the attorneys that just joined the party are sending us $4,000 and are mad at U.S. Bank because U.S. Bank said, "Hey, join the party, but now you're giving this guy 5 grand to go away and drop the case." what the hell just happened here? $9,000 in a weekend. Ain't a bad weekend, right, man? How many people worked 4 months, 5 months to get 9 grand?
Wow. Yeah.
All I did is go to the mailbox, go on my honeymoon, and come back, write a couple pieces of paper, some words on paper, send it to them for all of 42 cents. And I'm expecting my checks hopefully by the end of next week. So, these are the kind of situations that if you just understand the simplicity of going to your mailbox, that's like being in Vegas in a crapjack or a blackjack table and hitting 21. If you know when to recognize the ace and the king or queen or jack, you're good to go.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you go to the mailbox and you're stressed and you grab the envelopes and you just throw them away or you hide or you just don't want to deal with reality. The way I look at it is I could bring our unemployment rate really low this year by just becoming members and start prosecuting. You'll be busy working all day with these people and you'll be collecting thousands upon, it'd be a small business making 6 figures a year between your credit reports, phone calls, debt collection letters, not paying your mortgage. I don't encourage anybody not pay their mortgage. What I do encourage everybody is this. In our economic environment, worldwide, because you're even feeling it where you're at, Ben, everybody's feeling it. You cannot be making decisions that are sentimental. You have to make wise business decisions. And it's a matter of preserving your capital, not giving it away, trying to preserve a home that you're renting from a bank or a credit card. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you're stealing from your children, you're stealing from your grandchildren, and you're stealing from yourself to pay these same crooks. And let me read you today's headline. That will give you, and I'm going to slide this over to my big screen because this is the news that I was reading to today. This is why, this is titled, This is Why They Hate You and Want You to Die. Reuters, Bank of America Corp will pay $11 million to ousted, meaning fired, bank executive Joe Price and Sally Procek. Did you just hear what I just said?
I didn't quite get it. Could you just go over it again?
Bank of America will pay $11 million to 2 fired executives.
Right, got it, yeah.
Okay? So if you think that these banks really give a darn about you, you better wake up.
Yeah.
They've already gotten 16 trillion of our dollars, and they keep paying executives these outlandish bonuses, and these 2 crooks are getting 11 million bucks after they've been fired.
Yeah. It's
Okay?
it's one big scam, isn't it? They've been fleecing us and rinsing our money, the whole thing.
Yes. So what I say is go get some of your money back. That's all I'm saying. And I'm saying you have to make a business decision. What is my house worth? 200 grand? What do I owe? 300 grand? I'm not paying. I'm done. That's a business decision. Okay? Because everybody in America and in England and Britain, everywhere, live in a fantasy land. You do not own anything. Slaves are not allowed to own a thing but meaningless trinkets. In America, you buy your house cash. If you don't pay your taxes, they take it from you. Wow, did I own that?
No.
See? If I bought a car, I can go buy a $300,000 Ferrari tomorrow. And it's a $300,000 piece of junk sitting on my driveway if I don't give my tithing to the state and go register it so I can drive it.
Yeah.
And if I don't register it, I cannot drive it. So it's not my car. I cannot do what I want with it. You see, but your cell phone, you can get upset and throw it out your window doing 65 miles an hour. Nobody cares. You see, trinkets.
Yeah.
Nothing real. So I tell America and everybody else, wake up. Just wake up and use their own rules, their own regulation against them. And go collect what's due to you and your family. Because it's not only about you. Have the courage, pull up your britches, and get out there and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
It's a sad statement. 70% of all active attorneys on this planet, all of them reside right here in the United States. 70%. That's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, for 5% of the Earth's population, yeah.
Okay? I mean, that's absolutely absurd. That just shows how lazy Americans are.
Yeah.
I'm not going to handle my own business. When you go to Singapore, see, they give you classes to the general public. They want you to know the laws, the rules, and the regulations. They actually look at attorneys and say, we don't like you guys.
Mm.
They teach the populace on how to defend their own litigation issues with their neighbor, with their business associates, with a car accident. They don't want you to go hire an attorney. They want you to handle your own business. They want you to be intelligent, where everything that they teach us is the opposite. They want you to be stupid and dumbed down.
Yeah.
You know how many times, if I could retire for every time a judge has asked me, sir, are you an attorney? And my response is always the same. You wish I was. And he knows exactly what I mean by that, because then I would have to succumb to him. And second, I say, sir, I'm perfectly capable of reading words on a piece of paper, no different than you and that attorney over there. That's an insult to my intelligence, because they get very, very, very nervous when they got a pro se litigant that knows the system better than they do.
Why is that?
Well, here's the problem that we've had. And funny enough, it's affected your country and our country, because I always refer back to England, Britain as just US, because they're all the same. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, credit card, banks, financing homes, cars, your underwear, anything, okay? That's why the economies are falling apart. But you look at this and you think of what's happened during the boom times, okay? 2003, because the fallacy that everybody has is that the real estate markets were at its peak in 2005, and that's wrong. They were at the peak of falling at 2005. The actual peak was about 2002, almost 2003, and a little bit into 04 when it finally topped. Okay, all we were witnessing in 2005 and 6 was the downside of it. Okay, even though there was still a lot of money to be made, it didn't matter. So what happened is America and England and Britain and everybody else had a lot of money. We had a lot of money. Okay, everybody, the economy was flourishing, right? They'd give if you had the requirements for a loan in the United States was you walked into the bank, the guy grabbed your wrist. Oh, you have a pulse. Oh, sign here. That was it.
Yeah.
Literally, if you were breathing, you got a car, you got a house, you got a credit card. Okay, so it became, and it still is, so customary for an attorney to show up in court. There's no defendant, because America, well, I owed on that credit card. You see, it didn't matter. Times were good. Nobody owed anything. Money was flowing like crazy. As soon as it started to take the downturn, this came in droves, millions of cases, millions. We had one judge here, Judge Stoker in Osceola County, who came out in the newspaper. Wrong thing to do. He said, I personally look at over 12,000 foreclosure cases a month.
God.
That's less than like a minute for each one. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Bloody hell.
Needless to say, they took him out of his position. They put him to work somewhere else here in Orange County doing something else, because he admittedly said that I'm just a rubber stamp for the bank. Okay?
Yeah, that's basically what he said, yeah.
That's basically what he said. So I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do as my elected position. And I'm not, what I call that is honest. That's theft of honest services, which is a title, I think Title 16 violation, whatever. But that's how you go after these judges. It's not trying to get them removed or their bonds or all this, patriot nonsense. Go after them under theft of honest service.
You can go after a judge?
Oh, yeah, but I'm not going to talk about that today. That's fun stuff. That's fun stuff. But see, you do it the right way. There's a difference, man. There's a right and a wrong way, an easy and a hard way.
Yeah.
Right? So remember what I said. They wrote this stuff down, not me. Not you. They did. So they can't question what they wrote, what they created. That's the beautiful thing. I'm not coming in with a theory. I'm saying, here's the law. It's black and white. Are you going to follow it today or no? You see, it's that simple. At that point, they know they're caught dead to rights. So that's why our system works. So long story short, the whole banking system was using attorneys to come into court by the millions with no paperwork, no proof of damages, no proof of a claim, no witnesses, no affidavits, nothing. and there was no defendant on the other side to say, hey, wait a minute.
Mm.
Where's the proof that I owe you this? Is that accounting correct? I don't think I owe you 5,000. I think it's 4,800.
Mm.
Even if you do owe and you want to be honest, you still got to hold them accountable.
Mm.
Okay? Because if I can't pay you the $200 now, I'm going to go fight for my $200 that you're trying to overcharge me. Correct?
Yeah.
Well, the judges were just used to stamping things.
Mm.
So they never looked at the evidence. They never looked for affidavits. They never looked for chain of titles and mortgages. They didn't look for proof of contracts in credit card debts. They didn't do anything. So it became a racket over the last 4 years, literally a racket.
Mm.
Nobody shows up. I think 1% of all credit card debt is actually litigated, and like 2% of foreclosures now, finally now, like 2 or 2.5% of foreclosures are litigated.
Wow.
Okay, so my goal is to get that number up to 5-10%, because if that 1 to 2% has backed up the courts for years, as we can see, can you imagine 10%, 15%, 20%?
Yeah, there's just not enough, there's not enough capacity for that much, is there?
Right. So we have our plan of attack is a surefire way. Number one, if I take your resources, you can't do anything. Meaning, if you're a debt collector, you have limited amount of resources because you have to buy portfolios, you have to hire people to chase down these account holders, you got mailing costs, you got a light bill, you got computers, you got all these costs. But now I'm also going to smack you with litigation costs. So now I'm used to maybe, a 1% litigation for the year. Now I'm doing 20, 30, 40% litigation because half of the people that I send a letter to are suing me.
Yeah.
I got to close down.
Yeah.
I got to close down, right? Okay, I put you out of business. I can put you out of business that way.
Mm.
Or I can put you out of business by clogging up the courts to where you don't collect anything.
Mm.
Right? Or both.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do is say, hey, wait a minute. This is kind of like the protest on Wall Street, except we're saying, hey, we're going to use your own rules, your own regulations, things you created against you.
Mm.
Good luck.
Yeah. Jesse, I know we don't want to mention any names in particular, but just could you comment on, you've mentioned the patriot movement and the sovereignty and all these different, uh, you know, theories that are out there. Just give us a comment on that. How is that different from what you're doing?
I don't use theory. Let me tell you what's happened with theory. My friend Ricky serving 10 years in jail for theory on a mortgage. He tried to do a patriot type style letter of rescission of signatures, rescission of the debt. Went ahead, filed all the paperwork that this lady, this Karen, was giving out to these guys for $5,000.
God.
And about a year later, the state came in and said, you filed all this fraudulent paperwork using fraudulent notaries. You don't have the authority to do this. And Ben, whether you're right or you're wrong, if it encroaches on their territory or public policy, you're wrong, period. There is no right.
Mm.
And that's what happened. They just came in and arrested him, gave him no trial, threw him in jail for 10 years, end of story.
Mm.
I have another friend who was using his UCC3. He was using his alleged, account, the straw man account, pay off mortgages, paying off cars, paying off credit cards, in jail for 50 years.
Yeah.
Because, granted, I do, and I've seen the proof that those accounts are there, there's money there, but I challenge anybody to show me proof that they have authority to use them.
Mm.
Show me where it's at. Show me where Timothy Geithner sent you a letter and said, here, you can spend $10 billion in your account.
Yeah.
That's their account. They set it up. Just as your Social Security card on the back says, this is not your property. It's not your Social Security card. It's not your driver's license. See, you get into all these trivial arguments. Oh, well, we have the right to travel. Of course you do. You were born with legs, right?
Yeah.
I can travel anywhere I want on a leg. And yes, the legal definition of driving is a commercial activity. It's not traveling. A passenger and a guest, two complete different things. I understand all that. I've been studying this since I was 16 years old. I'm 44.
Mm.
Okay, I've written 3 books on the Bible, the history of the Bible, not the scriptures. Who wrote it? Who are these authors? What was their agenda? What was the political situations? What were their beliefs at the time? Why were these? I've studied it all. It's a passion of mine. And fortunately for me, I have a father-in-law who's been studying it for 53 years,
Mm.
long before you and I were even twinkles in our dad's eyes. Number one. Number two, I have a wife who loves it, and I have a 19-year-old son who loves it too. So it's a matter of enlightening your whole entire existence and saying, what am I living in? And I'll break it down to this. When you're a little child and your mom and dad take you to Disney World or Disneyland, right?
Mm.
You're 5 years old, man. You look at Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Goofy and you say, wow, those guys are real. And you look at the perfect little brick streets and the perfect painted buildings and the fireworks and the stars and the little, what is her name? Twinkle or whatever the heck her name is up there at the top of the castle coming down across the road. It all seems surreal to you when you're 5 and 6 years old,
Mm.
right? Well, it's the same thing that we live in on a daily basis. You've been to the States, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You see the fantasy world we live in.
Yeah.
Streets are perfect. There's no potholes. Grass is mowed. Edge, trees everywhere. Landscaping's perfect. They take care of everything. They don't take care of anything. It all comes out of our pocket. So what we're living is an adult playground.
Mm.
It's an adult Disney World.
Yeah.
And we were just in South America, and my wife, we come back, and she says, holy Lord, have mercy. But I feel free when I'm there. Why? Because I'm blowing by cops at 100 kilometers an hour on the freeway. They don't even look at you.
Mm.
I don't care. What are you hurting? It's 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
See, it's not serve and protect here anymore. It's serve and collect.
Yeah.
Because 99% of cops will never see a gun pointed at them, will never see a knife thrown at them. They won't see that. What they see is a lot of coffee, a lot of donuts, and a lot of downtime.
Mm.
You follow me?
Yeah.
So, why do we have so many cops? Man, I was there 7 days in Central and South America, traveling all over the place, and I seen real cops. I'm not talking about tourist police or, traffic parking type of police they have there, like our meter maids. I'm talking real cops. I've probably seen 10
Yeah.
in 7 days. I see 10 on the way to work here between county, city, and highway patrol in a 10-mile or a 19-mile stretch between the office and my house.
Mm.
It's ridiculous, Ben. So we're living in this fantasy world here that people have to realize doesn't exist. It's created by us and it's maintained by us because we all agree that this is what it is. But when you go to the real world and you step outside of here, even to England, because I've been, it doesn't even remotely resemble this here. And that's the beauty. I have friends from Ireland. I have friends from all over Europe. I have friends from my exchange students from Korea. My son was in Korea last year. He said, damn, Dad, South Korea is a pretty advanced country, but it still doesn't have anything that's remotely close to this. Buildings are old. Buildings aren't painted. The streets aren't perfect. He says, we really do live in a big fantasy.
Mm.
Does that make sense? And America has to wake up and realize that this has to stop because you're a slave to your own creation.
Mm.
And until you do, you're not going to realize everything that's going on around you. And, it's the same old adage that I used to tell everybody. Ben, if you were born in England, you're probably a Catholic or a Christian or an atheist. That's pretty much the way it sums it up here.
Mm.
Either a good Baptist boy, a Catholic, or I'm an atheist.
Mm.
Some kind of Christian, correct? If I was born in India, I'd worship the cow, and the cow would be a sacred animal. I wouldn't eat it, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If I'm born in China, it's a Buddha, and if I'm born in the Middle East, it's Allah.
Mm.
But yet, adult, grown human beings will argue whether Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Pluto are real or not, and whether my Mickey Mouse is real and your Pluto's fake.
Yeah.
They're all mythical creations.
Mm.
I do believe in a creator, no doubt about it. Just look around, it speaks for itself.
Mm.
But I can't label it Allah or Christ or Buddha because I'm arguing stupidity. I don't have time for that. And that's kind of the way I look at the Patriot movement. I understand the basics. I understand the theory. I have proof of it. I have done. I'm sure you know what accepted for value is, right?
I'm familiar with the concept, yeah.
Okay, I did 4 of them last year, paid off 4 taxes to 4 counties, and then I did 27,000 more that didn't get acknowledged.
Right.
You follow me? There's no consistency.
Right.
It wasn't worth it to me. I have friends who are paying back the IRS for this OID process. I mean, dearly.
Mm.
I have one guy who just got 4 years in prison for it.
Right.
Okay, I can't do that to people in any good conscience. Number one. Number two, I can't do that and knowingly charge them for something that doesn't work.
Mm.
So when I say, Ben, become a member, pay the $99, get in there, use it, and go make yourself a few thousand minimum, you lazy bum, minimum. Right? If you're pursuing it, you'll make yourself 6 figures. If you're a lazy bum, wants to hang out at the beach and just get enough money to live, you'll do it easily. Okay? Go do it. I'm giving something back to Ben, and I feel good about that when I go to bed at night.
Yeah.
I'm waking you up. I'm giving you some sort of way out, some way to help you and your family make a few $1,000, maybe get caught up on some of the bills, not worry about your light bill, not worry about getting thrown out on the street if you're in foreclosure, how to kill the foreclosure. I don't care if your foreclosure sales tomorrow. I can kill it today
Wow.
with $74. So there's ways to handle it all. And there's more and more and more people in this country finally waking up. And it's a worldwide exercise, I think. I think it's happening all over the place. But it's finally coming to fruition where people are saying, whoa, 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 what in God's green earth have we been putting up with and dealing with?
Mm.
Because they're breaking out of their own shell. It's a me society. What's in it for me?
Yeah.
That's got to stop, pal.
I agree, Jesse. Wow, it's great listening to you explain these things. And there's a few of you that work together, right? There's you and Larry and
Yeah, Larry and John. John's been around since 1993. And what he does is he teaches you. Our system is actually several layers. It's kind of like an onion, okay?
Hmm.
And I tell people, you can't take this elephant and eat it in one bite, but you can eat an elephant one bite at a time. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a lot of people try to bite the whole damn elephant. They choke to death, and then they wind up dying.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that we have. Our system has 3 layers, basically, and each layer has layers. And it's very simply labeled within the website. Saving your home, or I'm sorry, taking their money, saving your money, protecting your money, and saving your home. And then, of course, we have bankruptcy, securitization, MERS section. We have all kinds of different explanations and stuff. Our website's up to 2 full DVDs of information and growing daily.
All right.
Took us a year. Yeah, it took us a year to build it. So what's that tell you?
Yeah.
And it's on every single day for a minimum of 6 to 7 hours.
Cool.
I have a full-time IT guy that does nothing but work. God bless Gary, because I drive him up the wall.
Wow.
But and the way the system works is very simple. If you have a foreclosure, if you have a credit card debt, if you've had a repossession, if you've had somebody trying to garnish your wages, if you've had judgments against you already, if you act accordingly, it's not too late. We've had many people that had their wages garnished, stopped overnight, and the money all returned.
Cool.
We've had many people whose wages were garnished, and they started 3 weeks ago. They turn around, they sue them, and they stop garnishing, and they say, here's your money back, go away. Because all we're doing is holding you accountable. That's all we're doing.
Mm.
The second section is let's protect the money that you just got from these people. Because John's philosophy years ago was, I am tired of fighting these idiots. How about I just judgment-proof myself, right? And go ahead and sue, go ahead and get judgments, go ahead and do whatever you want to do. You're not going to get a penny. How's that sound?
Yeah, good.
Well, here's the fatal flaw. If you're not making money from it, it's not any good. As far as I'm concerned, if you're not making money from a system, it's not good to you.
Right.
No good. Stay away from it. Don't pay $2,000 or $3,000 or 10% of the value of your property. You should hear the absurdities that are out there these poor victims are falling for. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Mm.
I would have to move to a third world country and hide in the woods someplace in the jungle so you wouldn't find me out of fear of killing me. because I can't believe what these people are doing to other people,
Mm.
fellow Americans, to other, whatever.
Mm.
So you have the system there where if you are not sharp enough to get the day-to-day operation of the FDCPA and TCPA and FCRA, you can say, okay, I'm going to jump on this one. I'm going to take care of this, judgment proof myself, and then go turn around and start learning the other. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, then we have the saving your home section, and that's all about the foreclosure and coming out with a free home and a win. And to me, a win, Ben, is this. I've lived in my home that used to cost me $3,500 or $3,700 a month payments for almost 4.5 years. Okay?
Yeah.
I've won. If I have to leave tomorrow because I get a crooked judge, I've won.
Mm.
Would you not agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
Unlike most people, I've said I'm going to invest my money. I'm going to take that money responsibly. If I have it every month, and I'm going to put it away in some kind of investment. In case I do have to leave, I have something there.
Mm.
God willing, I haven't had to or won't have to, and thank God that I haven't had to. But at the end of the day, it makes sense to say if my rent was, or my mortgage, I call it rent because for 17 out of the 30 years on your mortgage, you're renting from the bank.
Mm.
You don't own anything. So I could rent, the same house across the street for half of a mortgage payment. Now, no taxes, no responsibility to maintenance, no responsibility to homeowners associations, nothing. So you even have these brilliant people out here who are paying $3,000 to the bank, emptied out their 401k, their life savings accounts, CDs, and anything else they had to pay the bank $3,000. The whole time they could have rented the same identical home across the street for $1,200.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, this is the beauty of the system. Stay in your beautiful home. If you want to fight it and do a strategic walkout, which a lot of people are doing now, and saying, I'm not going to pay Ben Bank anymore. I'm tired of this crook. I've tried to work it out with the guy. Guy doesn't want to work. Screw you.
Mm.
This is how I'm going to do it. And our system shows you and gives you the tools and means to be able to work, to be able to keep that home 2, 3, 4 years and recover some of your money. Because like I said, it's all about capital preservation right now. It's not about making a ton of money. It's about keeping what you have.
Mm.
And if I can show you how to make it grow without any risk at all, meaning a few letters and a suit here and there, and you're making that capital grow, preserve it, damn it. Don't just blow it now that you have it.
Mm.
And that's what happens. People blow their money. My mother, who's 67 years old, 2 or 3 months ago, we were eating dinner. High end, and I mean high end, $20 a plate, because that's high end to me. I'm pretty cheap when it comes to food, right?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I don't really care. $20, $25 a plate. We're sitting at this restaurant, and I told my mother, I said, wow, for the economy being bad, there's sure a lot of people out here eating out.
Yeah.
And she said, she said it with such a chuckle. She says, well, hell, of course I can afford to eat out. None of them are making any mortgage payments. So here's a 73-year or 67-year-old woman who gets it,
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty neat to see that in your parents, because even my own mother said, I ain't paying that crap. I wouldn't pay, So it's a thing that you learn and you understand that the whole system is corrupted. And, we've seen a lot of, like I said, I've given you 3 examples of friends that have went to jail over the last year, but I haven't seen a single politician go to jail. I haven't seen a single bankster go to jail. I haven't seen a single securities trader go to jail. None of those people go to jail.
Mm.
It's the commoner.
Yeah.
Pretty bad, right? As a matter of fact, they just arrested and sentenced to, I think, 13 years and 7 years, something like that, a pastor and his wife, because they got out funny loans back, 2006, whatever.
Mm.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, crazy and exciting. I mean, I mean, it's so exciting for me to hear you talk about all these things, and I know the people that are listening to this are going to be really excited as well. Um,
I hope so. I just, we're in a country in an era that they've basically got the land of what I call the land of the walking dead.
mm,
That's the United States.
yeah.
And it's time for them to wake up. It's time for them to realize without us, there's no government, there's no banking system, there's no agreement. Ben, I'm assuming you went to the bathroom before we get on this call sometime today since you're 5 hours ahead of me.
Yeah,
Did you use paper to wipe your behind?
I did.
Okay, I used that same paper to buy a cup of coffee at 7-Eleven this morning.
Right.
You see, it's just paper,
Yeah.
but we all agree and say, you know what? That's worth $1, or we value that at $1, and I'll take that in trade. And that right there, I'll flush down the toilet.
Mm.
And I bought that paper with paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see how easy it is? I mean, I don't try to overcomplicate anything.
Mm.
As Ron Paul said, I don't ever get it, and I won't understand it, how the Federal Reserve can hit print and counterfeit money, yet we do it and we go to jail.
Yeah.
It's very simple. People, just wake up. It's all a big game. Your whole life here is a big game. Don't give yourself such big credit. I'm special. And
Mm.
just do what you have to do to survive while you're here.
Mm.
Every philosopher over history has said one simple thing, and I'll phrase it for everybody who's a Christian out there. Christ said it. You're only in the earth, not of the earth. You're only here playing around, man.
Mm.
Might as well have as much fun as you can and catch these suckers at their own game. Don't let them keep you stupid.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done. And now everything's waking up and people are saying, oh, Lord, they are going, I believe, Ben, they are going nuts. I believe that the system is finally waking up, because when you're starting to see headlines today on CNN, and you can look it up yourself, analysts skeptical of the alleged Iranian plot. When my father-in-law, when I got back from my trip, he says, did you hear what happened? They hired a Mexican to kill us. I said, are you kidding me? Do they expect Americans to believe this crap?
Mm.
Really? Iran is going to hire a Mexican drug cartel guy to kill?
Mm.
Come on. Come on. It's like, it was so unbelievable to me that this would even be, sure as hell. Here's the news today. CNN. You see, they're trying and grasping at straws to be able to put down more of a police state, which we're already in, but more.
Yeah.
Tightening up the borders more. I'm expanding the website in 2 different directions. So Ben.
Mm.
My goal was trifold. My goal was to give the consumer, my fellow man and women, a $99 way to make money.
Mm.
Because if I don't charge them anything, right, then they don't respect it. That's just human nature. It's just the way it is. But if you're paying, you give it a little bit more respect.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That's just the way it goes. But $99 is fair. I got tired of these crooks out there charging $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. I've heard of one lady who paid a guy $23,000 to save her home, and she's out on the street.
Huh.
I talked to her personally. It brings tears to your eyes, man. I actually have a conscience, unlike most.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, I thought, how in the hell do I get these people so where everybody can afford it? And that's what I did. I got it to where it was an affordable way. If you just skip 5 or 6 lattes, at the coffee shop, you'll be able to pay for it.
Mm.
So I gave you a way to get in, save your home, help you with credit card debt, protect your money, all that stuff, cheap. The second level was the way to make money. So I wanted to give you something that would give you something back, meaning you're going to give me a little, I'm going to give you back a lot.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
And the third way was the affiliate side. Hey, listen, go sell some of this stuff and make you some money. Let's share it. Let's all be one big community.
Yeah.
So it's trifold, right?
Yeah.
Now what's happened is a lot of the members are saying, Jesse, listen, I want more personal type of help. So I'm starting what I call the inner circle.
Right.
Okay, I'll be announcing that out. This is the first announcement ever. You've heard it right here at Ben Lowry. I've not told a soul. Seriously, I'm not joking.
Cool.
Your listeners will be the first ones to hear about it. I'm starting the inner circle. We're going to work one-on-one with you guys. Not as a person, meaning Ben and I together. It's going to be Ben, John, Joe, and Larry over here. All of us together working on the same issues going forward. So it's an inner circle, meaning that's exactly what it is. It'll be, I'm limiting it to, we don't know yet, to less than 100. I'm not sure how we're going to do it. I know how we're going to do it, but I'm not sure the number yet. And say, okay, this 100 people, we're going to work together. We're going to have our own private conversations, our own private calls, maybe our own private meetings once a week. And then we're going to get our cases together, whether Ben has a foreclosure, Jesse has a credit card, it doesn't matter. It's the same type of violations. We're going to get all of our suits together, ready. We're going to go down within the same 7 business days and file those lawsuits. And we're going to all have the same exact time frames and guidelines to meet under the federal rules of civil procedure. So that means that Larry, John, and myself can help all of us together because everybody has the same steps. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to give the same full 100% money back guarantee. If I charge $2,500, you're going to make that $2,500. If you don't make $2,500, here's your money back. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So everything we do, because we're getting the demand. But if I'm going to spend time not on my boat fishing, and I'm going to spend time here working, I'm going to get paid for it. It's that simple. And I don't think that's unfair because you're going to make all the money back. So it's a fair trade, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I want to make sure at least you agree and say, yeah, it's a fair trade, okay?
Yeah, sure.
So that's the number one. The secondary function is I have started a new project, which is not new. I've been doing it since 2003 personally, which is a diversification project showing people like yourself and my fellow members how to operate outside of their countries and different jurisdictions with banking and credit cards, passports, other residencies. So they know, like, my wife and I are residents of several countries, full-time residents. Okay, stamped, legal. I can walk in there, open bank accounts, that are completely out of this jurisdiction.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I want to teach people how to do that, and I have the process on how to do it and the right connections in the right countries to operate under these anonymous bearer share corporations, open up anonymous bank accounts, have anonymous debit cards to where no information is on that magnetic card other than the account information. So meaning Ben goes to swipe that Visa at the store in Chile, and Ben was never in Chile. There's no trace of that transaction happening. That makes sense?
Would the IRS say it was illegal?
The IRS says breathing is illegal if you're not paying. Yeah. So it's not illegal if you know what you're doing. Everything's legal.
Right.
It's just as a matter of fact, the United States has no problem with dual citizenship.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Remember that the whole tax system is an honor system. You know that, and I know that. And a lot of the patriots argue that. Try on top of your 10-4, this is a voluntary form. But what happens is if you don't volunteer, you go to jail.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not going to get into the details of it. So I'm expanding it even further for those members who say, you know what, I've gotten $25,000 this year or in the last 6 months suing these crooks. I want to do something with that money and get it out of the system.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
Because that money is not taxable money. Now, I'm not a tax person. I suggest you consult your CPA. But 9 out of 10 times, any injury money, because those are punitive damages, are non-taxable.
Oh, I see.
Okay? Remember, you hurt me. It's like breaking your leg and getting a suit for $10,000. It's not income. None of that is considered income.
Oh, I see. So when we get our compensation damages out of these banks and stuff, the IRS doesn't consider that taxable income.
No.
Right.
At least in my case. I have no idea in yours or anybody else. Once again, I'm not a CPA. But
Okay.
I'm just telling you what my past experience has been.
Yeah.
So, once I get these funds, I don't want them here in the system. And it's not because of IRS. I couldn't care less about IRS. I file my taxes. I do it all. What I'm afraid of is these banks collapsing around us. The euro collapsing. The dollar collapsing. All this, euro. I'm a day trader, by the way. So is my son. So we do a lot of currency trading. So we understand I keep on top of world news. And I know what's happening. The dollar's coming up. It's rallying. The euro's crashing because of that. Germany's freaking out because of Italy. So I don't want it in any of these currencies. And I sure as heck don't want it in any of these banks. Let me give you the next headline news for today. Do you know who Fitch, F-I-T-C-H is?
That's a bank, isn't it?
Fitch Ratings.
Fitch Ratings? Is it
Yeah.
a ratings agency, is it?
You got it.
Okay.
They downgraded UBS today and puts B of A and others on the watch.
Downgraded who, sorry?
Bank of America, or UBS.
Oh, right.
And UBS is a monster of a bank in
Right.
Europe.
Yeah.
Monster. And they put B of A and others. And let me read it. It says, FICT also reviewing ratings for Barclays, BNP Paribas, Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, Societe Generale,
Yeah.
Bank of America, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs Group for further possible downgrade.
Wow.
Do I want my money in any of those banks?
No.
Thank you.
It was incredible when the United States government was downgraded a couple of months ago, wasn't it?
Wasn't it awesome? I
Yeah.
thought, wow, finally somebody's telling us. But you know, Ben, these are the type of things that I tell everybody, and I suggest, listen, here's what I'm doing, you do what you want. I
Mm,
don't want to keep my money in any kind of currency that is tied to the dollar, pinned to the dollar.
mm,
I'd rather have my currencies in other ones. I'd rather have my currencies in economies like Singapore
mm.
that's just booming. It's booming.
Right.
Brazil, booming. Guatemala, booming. These third world countries are booming. And we already are a third world country. Americans just don't want to realize it.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in places in Guatemala that are small, small places. I'm talking 9 city blocks squared, and there's $500 million homes in there, all paid for, my friend.
Cool.
And no, they're not drug runners. No, they're not narcotics. They're doctors, lawyers, attorneys, citizens, just like anybody else.
Mm,
You see? So when I look at that and I say paid for, you show me a spot here in the United States where I can walk into 9 square blocks of a city and say every home here that's $1 million and up is paid for. Show me one.
mm.
None.
No,
Why?
they're all mortgaged up to the eyeballs.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, and the reason being is certain countries, and I use Guatemala as an example, won't allow you to have a bank loan and a house loan. It's one or the other.
Oh.
They won't allow you to have 5 credit cards with $10,000 each when you make 50 grand a year. Why would I give you 50 grand in credit?
Mm,
You see, if you want a car that costs 20 grand, guess what? Pay it off first, then you can go have a $100,000 house.
mm.
You make sense?
Yeah. So their economy is more stable, therefore, is it?
Yes. Their economy is more stable. Their currencies are not pegged to the dollars. These things are, there's certain things out there in certain countries, certain jurisdictions that are great. So that's got to be part of our system. If I'm teaching Ben how to make money from this current system,
Mm.
then I got to teach Ben how to get his money out of the damn same system that's corrupt to begin with, but is falling apart all around us and crumbling.
Mm.
Would that not be fair?
Yeah, I'm amazed. I didn't realize you were what you guys are doing is offering such a holistic kind of all round kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We want to make sure we teach everybody to, keep it. Gold and silver, for instance, in this country is great to have, but it's already been confiscated once.
Mm.
Americans, you know, 99% of the people walking the face of this planet have no idea that that took place because it was great grandpa Ben's generation.
Mm.
I never even got to talk to my great grandfather. How in the heck am I going to know? And the school doesn't teach you that. See, here's the beauty of this whole system we're in. You can go to school 12 years, then you go to college for 4 or 5, and not for one day do they teach you where money comes from, what the Federal Reserve is, how it's printed, what is currency, what's not currency, what's real money, what's not real money, because currency is everything. If I walk into 7-Eleven this morning with a cup of coffee, to buy a cup of coffee,
Mm.
I have choices. I can hand them coins, that's currency. I can hand them bills, that's currency. I can hand them a debit card, that's currency. I can hand them a credit card, that's currency.
Mm.
It's all currency. I can hand them a check. That's currency. I can hand them certified funds. That's a currency. See, it's all currency,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
But funny enough, I can't walk in with an ounce of gold and say, give me change. Wow, isn't that peculiar?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You see what I mean?
It's like Bernanke himself said he doesn't consider gold to be money, doesn't
No, it's not in the Constitution or in Congress or any of that. Yeah, no, of course not.
he?
Not written there in black and white. So these are kind of things. The Tandy stick was a currency for 785 years, and it was your fellow ancestors who did it. Go look it up. Tandy stick. It was nothing but a bunch of sticks with notches in it. It's
Yeah.
the longest surviving currency in the history of the human species.
Yeah, I went to the Bank of England Museum in London in the banking district, and there's
They
one
have
in there.
they
Yeah.
have one there. They
Yeah.
have one.
Mm.
Now, let me ask you, isn't that odd that the longest lasting currency is a stick?
Yeah.
Isn't that neat?
Mm.
The second right now is the Chinese currency, and the third is us right now at 80 plus years, a little 82 years or something. That's nothing compared to 785 years.
Mm.
So I look at all the fallacies that we live in and the fantasies we live in, and I just try to teach people, you're not special. Your situation is not special. Become part of a community, and you'll realize
Mm.
that all of us can help each other because we're all facing the same things.
Mm.
And if you don't believe me that you're not special, step outside your home, look to your left, look to your right, and look across the street. And one out of every three in Nevada are in foreclosure.
Cool.
One out of every seven in Florida are in foreclosure.
Wow, I didn't
Guess
realize
what?
that.
All of a sudden, you don't feel special anymore.
Mm.
All those houses are the same, just like yours. Those are all the same kids with the same excitement and the same emotions, going to school, catching the bus, running around, going to work. You know what? None of us are special.
Mm.
What we have to realize is that we're all one and we all need to work together. See, this being special stuff is what caused all the separation between us to begin with.
Yeah.
See, we're not special. I'm not special. I'm just Jesse. I'm just trying to help Ben. Ben's not special. Ben's just trying to help Jesse. That's it. We work together and we get something done.
Mm.
But when Jesse thinks he's special and I'm a little better than Ben, well, now we have issues, see? Nothing gets done because it's me against you. Instead of you helping me and me helping you, it's me against you or you against me. And I create a division.
Mm.
And that's what we're not about. We're about community. The
Yeah.
bigger the community, the more wisdom that's out there and the stronger we are. Because if Jesse is the smartest guy in his group, Jesse needs to leave his group. I'm in the wrong group.
Mm.
I need to always remain the dumbest, Ben.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you think it's possible that we, as a society, in terms of the big picture, could there reach a tipping point where, so many people are empowered with this type of information that the government really just can't, just loses their grip? Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I think that's very possible, and I think we're not too far from it.
Mm.
Some of the biggest forecasters are saying that, one Gerald Celente already said it. He's been saying it since 2010 that by the end of 2012, New York City will look like Mexico City.
Mm.
Riots, people kidnapped for $3,000 for food, people killed for a can of beans.
Mm.
America doesn't realize this, and there's something that Porter Stansberry said, another economic forecaster a while ago, and this was about a year ago, and it made a lot of sense. He says, remember that there's something, and I forget the exact terminology, Ben, but it's the explanation is very simple. As the Jews were watching Jews by the trainload get hauled away, they were in denial, saying that'll never happen to me.
Mm.
Because it's never happened before, people think it can never happen.
Mm.
So they're in a state of denial.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what happened to the rich Jews with Hitler. The rich Jews thought, oh, those are the poor Jews. Does it matter? You're Jews.
Mm.
And they're being taken away and slaughtered like animals, these people.
Mm.
Is that not matter because you have more money in the bank, you think you're better? Remember, I'm special? That will not happen to me?
Mm.
Guess what? It happened to all of them.
Yeah.
But they were in denial. They didn't have the brains to pick up and leave and say, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm leaving this area. I'm leaving this country. I'm taking measures to protect myself. And that's what's going on in America right now.
Yeah.
Nobody is thinking they can close down the borders. You know what's going on November 8th or November 9th, right?
No.
Oh, no? Let me bring it up. I don't want to give you the wrong terminology, so I want to make sure that I think it's the 9th. The 8th. Let me see. November 8th. Supposed to be the day that they test all the systems across the United States. Remember the presidential button?
Is this the kill switch or something?
Yes.
I've heard Alex Jones talk about it, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Oh, right.
They're,
They're testing it.
They're testing everything: cell phones, satellites, internet, the whole 9 yards. Shut off for 3 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So nobody knows what kind of chaos will happen from that. But see, why would they want to do that? Why would you want to have the authority to do that?
Yeah, only to control the population.
That's it.
Mm.
Because something that no power at be has ever counted on was the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because it's incredibly powerful for people to be able to communicate like we do, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's a
It's November 8th. It's called the SAT, I think SAT or GRE test or something like that. But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
whatever it is, the whole point is that they're testing.
Mm.
They're testing.
Yeah.
No other country's doing it but us.
Cool.
And people need to wake up once again, and everything we teach and show is just a means of using their own against them. But as people wake up, they start seeing other things that are happening around you.
Mm.
And they go, wow, this is not cool, man.
Mm.
I seen a bumper sticker that said Obama 2012. I almost wanted to just ram her off the road.
Mm.
Are you this dead? Are you one of the walking dead?
Mm.
Really?
Yeah.
I understand Obama's a puppet. I understand he does what he's told. He's no president. He's nothing. He's just a clown.
Mm.
We don't want a clown back in there.
He's
At
just
least I don't.
a PR spokesperson, isn't he, really?
Yeah, that's all any president is anymore.
Yeah.
So we have all these issues, and I don't want to get off the case. The whole point of this interview was the site and why I did the site, and
Mm.
you know, but you can see I have a lot of simple beliefs. I don't like to overcomplicate things. I
Mm.
don't like to reinvent the wheel. Um, the law says this. You broke the law. Pay me. That's what I'm about. End of story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like to keep a low profile. I don't like to be out there all over the media. We don't do a bunch of advertising. And I even told you I don't want my picture up on.
Mm.
I'm fine with keeping low key. I don't need to tell the world who I am. I don't need to take the credit. I don't need the attention. I'm not special. I'm no different than Ben. I want to fall right into the same crowd that I'm working with.
Yeah.
That's that. And I'm not afraid of anybody, and I'm not afraid of At the end of the day, I just want everybody to understand I'm not a guru. I'm not this enlightened soul. I'm just awake to
Mm.
what's going on in this existence, as I like to call it.
Mm.
This little partial existence we're in. And I know, the gig's up. I know Mickey Mouse is over here and Donald Duck's over there and Pluto's around the corner with a radar gun. I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. And that's the difference. I guess I can look myself in the mirror every single day, say, I don't know nothing, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see, that's how I sleep well at night. I haven't done any harm to anybody. I'm helping folks. I don't know any reality. What I think's reality is not reality, and what I think is not reality might be reality. We have no clue,
Mm.
but we think we do because that makes us feel better. And I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I'm a pretty simple kind of guy. I like to fish and hang out with my wife and kids and friends, and you know.
Mm.
So, but I understand that the world around me is a fantasy land that's just created for my existence, and the powers that be now are starting to lose control over.
Mm. Yeah.
And finally, people are waking up. Humanity is finally waking up, and I don't know what the beast is going to fight back with. I have no idea,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't want to be caught up in the middle of it. So that's why I tell everybody diversification is a big thing, meaning other countries, other banking, other situations that's out there. Because if the old original terminology of diversification is, oh, I want something in mutual funds. Oh, I have an IRA over here. Oh, I have a 401k. I got a little cash. I got a little silver. I got a little CD. That's people's thinking. But it's all in the same country. And if that country goes down, everything you have goes down with it. Diverse means I have a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there, and the whole world would literally have to implode for me to lose it all.
Yeah. Yeah.
What meager possessions we do have, assets,
Mm.
they have to be diversified on a worldwide basis. The world is your playground. You're not stuck in Florida. You're not stuck in Georgia. You're not stuck in Alabama.
Mm.
The world is your playground. Wake up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll see me. I do a lot of traveling and a lot of exploring all over the place, and that's what I enjoy. And I let the debt collectors pay for it.
Wow, wow, it's incredible, Jesse. It sounds like you really enjoy what you do by the sound of it.
Yeah, you don't see any stress in my voice, do
Not
you?
at all, not at all. And that's what I noticed about you guys from listening to your podcast. I can hear from listening to you talking that what you're saying is logical and rational and methodical and it makes sense and it resonates with me and I can hear that from what you're saying. It just adds up, right? And I think that's the difference from a lot of the other theories that are out there. I've not been into this stuff for very long, only 2 or 3 years, but a lot of the theories just don't make sense, and you come away scratching your head, and it just doesn't add up, But with you guys, immediately within 5 minutes, I'm thinking, yeah, this makes sense. What they're saying is correct. It's obviously correct. It's just, you know.
Yeah, we don't like to reinvent the wheel.
Mm,
And, there's a lot of good guys out there, and I'm not going to mention any names,
mm,
that have made a lot of money there. I call them patriots for dollars.
mm,
And I'm opposed to them. And I'm also opposed to the patriot that says, I'm going to live in a park bench. Uh, you know,
yeah.
I'm not going to do that either.
Mm,
I realize that it goes a lot higher than what we're looking at here in the flesh,
mm,
like I said earlier. So if I know I'm stuck in this existence, as long as I'm not being played as a sucker to the best of my ability, because no matter what, somebody is still playing you, it's okay.
mm,
I've done the best I could possibly do while I'm here to enlighten myself to what's going on around me.
mm.
It's the ones that lay back in the chair at 5:30 in the evening with a cold beer or a bong, watching a football game, yelling at the old lady or the kids. That's I don't want to be one of those people.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I don't have time to watch TV. I got better things to do, like go out with my wife, my son, go do something,
mm.
go out and play with my dog, something other than watching TV and letting my brain rot away.
Yeah, sure.
And I've always looked at it this way. It was funny. I have a lot of Christian friends, a lot, because my son went to a Christian school, and I used to tell him, "How many hours a day do you dedicate to reading the Bible?" And they say, "Well, I don't have time to read the Bible every day." "Oh, so you're a Sunday Christian?" "What do you mean a Sunday Christian?" "Well, you go to church on Sunday, your Bible comes out of your trunk, and then you put it right back in the trunk after services, and you go home, right?" Right?
Yeah.
And they'd say, "Well, kinda." I don't believe in hypocrisy. I just believe in saying it and calling it the way it is.
Mm,
And they don't like it. A lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it. But I just tell them, "Well, how many hours a day do you watch TV?"
mm,
And I got to tell you that if I believed that that was my way out of this place, and I was going to put all my money and hedge that this is the way that I'm getting out of this place, then I'm going to know every little damn word I can possibly know. And every little detail I could possibly know.
mm,
Right? Because I'm putting all my eggs in that basket.
mm.
Wouldn't you want to know 99.99%? It'd be a relentless search.
Mm.
Because really, if that is my way out, don't you think that you should be putting in a lot more hours than
Yeah.
watching TV or basketball or football or any of that crap?
Mm, mm.
And they look at me and go, "Wow, I never thought about it like that." But they didn't change. They're still Sunday Christian,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You see, that's what I'm saying. That's what's wrong with almost everybody in the 30% of the world that has these luxuries that we have
Mm,
and these systems that we have. The 70% of the world doesn't have a toilet. 70% of the world doesn't have clean drinking water. 70% of the world doesn't know what an air conditioner and a heater is. 70% of the world doesn't know how to drive. Then we're in a 30% status.
mm. Yeah.
Pretty sad when you think about it. My wife started crying when she realized, and I told her, that 70% of people on this planet don't have a toilet.
Mm,
She thought, how stupid could I be? It hit her 10 o'clock at night. It hit her. She says, my whole life I've thought that everybody went to the bathroom just like I did.
mm.
No, sorry.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that way. So, there's areas in India that the rivers are so polluted, there's not a single fish. You can smell the feces coming from the water. It's amazing. That people just don't realize how good we have it. If you have a refrigerator and you can go get a cold bottle of water or cold beer, you better thank God for that cold water and that beer.
Mm,
If you got a hot shower, you better thank God for that hot shower. Have
mm.
you ever taken a cold one, Ben?
Well, not really, no.
I have, and I'll tell you, it is no fun, man.
Yeah.
But see, most people take it for granted. They don't even think about it.
Yeah.
They think everybody's the same. So, I mean, there's a lot of awakening that has to happen. And
Yeah.
our process and our system is just a little one because it's a day to day thing.
Mm.
Everybody has a credit card. Everybody has a mortgage. Everybody drives a car. Everybody's got some kind of credit somewhere. So, this is the way to say, okay, step one is just wake up with what you're doing that you don't even realize you're doing on a daily basis. Understand what happens when that phone rings and they're harassing you. Recognize going to the mailbox and looking for dollars versus petrified, letting your mail build up or trying not to answer the phone, letting your phone message fill up because you don't want to hear any more debt collectors calling you.
Mm.
Rejoice when the phone rings. Rejoice going to the mailbox. Be happy about it
Mm.
because you are awakened.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Another opportunity to make money if you know how.
Exactly. It's just like anything else, man. You know, if you were to ask a brain surgeon, man, is it hard? What you do is hard? I'd say absolutely not.
Mm.
But if I asked Ben, hey, is brain surgery hard? By default, Ben would have to say yes.
Mm.
But see, everything's easy once you know it.
Yeah.
Everything is easy once you know it.
So let's just clarify for people what they can get. So if they follow the link and go through to your site, there's like a newsletter they can sign up for. Is that right?
Well, we have an opt-in list,
Mm.
uh, and we give you several ways. If you can't afford the $100, if you're in that dire of a strait, and we have had people who are, believe it or not, and it kills me inside. I hate it.
Mm.
But I always say, better earn it than just give it. You'll appreciate it more. So with that philosophy, and it's not just mine, that was Larry's and John, all of us thought, you know what? Rather than just give him a membership because they're down and out, let's let him earn it while practicing and giving them an in to what's on the inside of the site, right?
Mm.
So we've done is once you go and follow the link, you can either join, big red buttons all over down the page that say join now. If it's a snake, it'll bite you, okay? Or on the left-hand side, you can just put in your name and your email address. And what that does is it sends you a confirmation link that says, hey, Ben, can you please confirm, due to spam laws, we have to do this. Ben, can you please confirm that you opted into my list? Yes, great, whatever. I don't know the exact words, but it's that comes in. So you click on that. That will send you another link. That link sends you a free PDF in your email that has all kinds of free resources. Okay? Then it sends you to a webinar. And that webinar, I suggest you bookmark it. And that webinar is Larry's webinar on credit reports, on how to simply free, go get your credit report for free, pull it, for free, learn to read it, and for free, put it to work to make yourself a couple $1,000.
Mm.
Now you have the money to go pay to become a member.
Right.
See? So you have that. Then you have free access to our open calls every Tuesday night on TalkShoe, as you're aware of.
Yeah.
And we send you the reminder emails. And you have access to our daily news. You have access to some things on the site that are free. And we have so many, I mean, thousands of visitors that come to the news section every single day that aren't even members. They just come to read the news I'm posting. So
Wow.
they don't have to go dig around all over the internet.
Mm.
And our news is not just debt related and not just foreclosure related. It's world related. And that's very important that people have an idea of what's going on next door. It's
Yeah.
very important. So I focus a lot on the world news, just like today. You know, the 5 that I posted this morning, why they hate you and they want you to die. That's
Yeah.
the banks.
Mm.
Economic Policy Journal, which I like. The Secret of Inner Circle of the Occupy Wall Street, which I find very interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, the alleged Iranian plot, which everybody thinks is full of crap.
Mm.
Obviously, CNBC, downgrading of all the banks. And, you know, so there's some important information. Then we do is I go in and I do a search through all the same thing I teach the membership. Go through all the district courts in your area and all the appellate courts in your area and look for their decisions and read decisions that are published. Every day there's decisions published, or almost every day, related to the FDCPA, foreclosure, etc., and read them. It doesn't matter whether the person won or lost. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's information to be gleaned from that because whenever a judge generally says, Ben, you're wrong, there's an explanation right behind it. He
Yeah.
kind of tells you what you did wrong.
Mm.
So the next guy comes around, he can drive the nail into that coffin and say, okay, there you go. So no matter what, case history is very important and it's a good pastime to read, whether you're on the toilet or you're, whatever. It's good to read these kind of case histories
Yeah.
because it gives you some kind of direction on how you can use it the proper way. Not
Mm.
only the good cases, but the bad cases.
Yeah, sure.
There's information there from all of it, and it's all good.
Right. And then the vast majority of the information on your site is within the members area, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So, yeah. Okay. Wow. My
Yeah,
gosh,
a lot of
Jesse.
information. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
God. Wow. I've really enjoyed talking to you. This is so exciting to hear.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, man.
Yeah.
It is. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like I said, my goal is not only uh, to wake and help people get back on their feet, but it's also to get back to these banks and say, hey, you know what? We're tired of it, and send out a message as a whole community. You know.
When I think about the number of people that are in debt and the amount of emotional distress and, like you were saying, sleepless nights, mental anguish, etc., etc. When you imagine all that in all those people out there, and if they could only come and learn this stuff you're teaching, and turn a negative thing into a positive thing, it's of huge consequence, really, isn't it?
It is because everybody's in a happier mood. Things get done. It helps everything all the way around. Because, I have a saying. Everybody says, you're 44. How have you been with your wife 25 years since high school? I say because if mama's happy, everybody's happy,
Mm,
and that's easy. If you're happy, for the most part, your whole family's happy. If you're the head of that household, if your wife's happy, you're happy.
mm,
If she, it's just the way it works.
mm,
And nothing kills me more inside than to hear from my own friends, we're getting a divorce. Well,
mm,
why? Because of finances.
mm,
She's leaving me because I don't have a job, or because what you're doing is you're putting value on the person in paper.
mm,
You don't really value that person with love and kindness and respect. You value them on what they can give you.
mm.
And that's a sad statement, man.
Yeah.
I've been a millionaire. I can't tell you how many times over, Ben, and lost it all overnight. I'm a trader, man. I don't mind taking risk.
Right.
And wife couldn't care less. As long as she goes to the store, swipes her debit card, and buys groceries, she's a happy camper. And that's true love. That's a woman who loves me for me, not for what I can provide.
Yeah. That's
And
real wealth.
exactly, that you can't get any wealthier than that. You
Yeah.
just can't. You can't. So these are the things that I try to show everybody that, you don't have to go in fighting with the wife, not talking to the husband or whatever. If one of you is at home looking for work because you've been laid off, like, millions of Americans have, then use this system
Mm.
to make yourself a few bucks. And pretty soon you'll have a full-time business going. It'll blow your mind away. I had to hire help January, February, March of this year just to handle my cases. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
I had to hire help. I had so many cases going on at one time
Yeah.
and keeping up with all the emails and keeping up with the documentation or whatever, you know,
Yeah.
because I couldn't do it all on my own. I just could not do it all on my own.
That sounds like a good type of problem to have, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to collect all this money and start off with a bang for the year, and I did. Larry collected over $30,000 in 3 months.
Wow.
I did a little bit. God, I want to say a little bit more than that in the first 3 months. Kind of like a challenge, like we have an in-house type of deal going. Yeah, he just got 7 grand. I'm getting 9 grand. I got another 10 after that. So it's like a battle. It's like a battle. And these are, it sounds like big numbers, but it's not big numbers. It's a lot of small numbers put together.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. You go to our members side in the forum and we have a good news section. And you see all these members that are putting in copies of their checks, and it's a real neat interactive thing, because I tell everybody, listen, if you have time to go look at his check, you have time to leave a comment and say, hey, good job, pat him on the back, whatever. Everybody likes that attaboy, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and it keeps everybody motivated. So go in there, look at the good news section, and go give somebody there an attaboy and say, hey, good job, keep up the good work.
yeah,
And you listen to our calls. We always start with the good news.
yeah,
Dave hosts my calls, and we start with good news, and people share good news. And it doesn't have to be money. It could be just a winning of a motion or a dismissal of a case, or that's all good news,
mm,
you know. But you got to focus on your goal. The money will come.
yeah, yeah.
So, it's all good stuff, man.
Wow, Jesse, I've really enjoyed talking to you today. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Well, thank you for having me on, man. I mean, it it's something that needs to be spread far and wide.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like I said, I don't know what your crowd of listeners is, uh, but it needs to be spread as far as wide as possible.
well, I'm certainly going to do my best to. I'm going to upload this onto YouTube, and I'll do my best to spread that link as far as I can, for sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good thing, and something that hopefully we encourage everybody else. Last week we had 830 replays of our Tuesday night call.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
and I see the tipping points coming. I see it
yeah,
where it's starting to go viral,
yeah.
because I don't think anybody can honestly say I don't know anyone that doesn't have some kind of financial problem.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
And if you're holding it to yourself, if Ben says, I can't afford the $99, and I'm not going to send it to anybody because you're that short-sighted,
Mm,
then you're killing your fellow friends who might be able to afford that $99.
mm,
That
mm.
makes sense?
Oh, yeah, it's a no-brainer, complete no-brainer, isn't it?
Hey, listen, I can't afford it yet, Ben, but check it out, man. I looked at it. It looks good. I heard great things. You've never heard a negative comment about it. You just haven't. It doesn't work that way. Everything we say is there. If you don't use it, then the bad is on you, not on me.
Mm,
I've given you all the tools. The old adage, you can lead the horse to water,
mm,
but you can't make him drink.
yeah.
We'll lead you right there, not to a little pond, but to the Great Lakes. That's how much water's there. If you don't want to drink, buddy, or you can drink till you're bloated, like I said, you can try to eat the whole elephant at once. You're not going to be successful. But there definitely is a elephant there to be eaten. Let's just put it that way. Well, here's some interesting news. Banks, when caught cheating, reduce filings. New foreclosure cases. Court funding suffers. Palm Beach Post today. Listen, it's just a constant array of thievery from the people, and cheating and lying and scamming and things that are going on in this country repeatedly. We need to start holding these guys accountable. We need to do it. And the more people, the better.
Yeah.
So all we can say is, it was started for the benefit of the people, and it's going to continue for the benefit of the people. So, and guys like you are helping, and I appreciate it a lot. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jesse. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
That'll work.
Yeah.
That'll work.
Well, I think I'll get this uploaded and I'll get busy. I'll get busy promoting it.
Okay, buddy.
Jesse,
We
it's been
appreciate.
great fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. You have a great weekend, man. Keep in touch,
Sure.
and let's go knock them out, buddy.
All right. Okay then. Yeah, you
Have a
too.
good
Take
one.
care.
Appreciate it.
Bye bye.
Okay.